Wow, Crystal, aka Beaver Gaming sub Crystal. Thank you. Is it gonna make that sound? Hold on, I gotta get the right screen on. There we go. Yeah. Still gets confusing. Okay, before I get started, the other night on my show, we had one of our freak family members, Justin Casers, and somebody said, "Gray, you were so rude," and I was like, "What do you mean?" I didn't even remember, to be honest with you. And then I went back and watched that segment, and I was rude, okay? I was rude, and I misread what she was writing, and I apologize. I feel bad. I was actually, so thank you to Louie for pointing it out, okay? But I went back and I read it, and I was kind of thinking, wonder why, I don't know why I was looking at it a certain way, okay? But the thing is all of us are human beings, and, we're not perfect. We all make mistakes, and I was definitely rude to her for no real reason at all right? So if you're out there, Justin Casers, I apologize, all right? And if you want to throw me in jail with the so mean thing, I'll go into the jail for a while. And if anybody of you guys see her out there, let her know that I apologize. I don't know where she is, or I don't have a way to get a hold of her or anything like that. But somebody wrote that, and I was like, what do you mean? So I went and watched it, and I was like, wow, that's messed up. So there you go. It is what it is. So today I was really pretty busy. I went out and helped on the Allison Watterson. I flew the drone around a few different places and spent like 4 hours with them, maybe 3. And then I came back later and then did this long interview with Cheryl Coker's family member and friends. So, Barb, Shelly, and Tina, okay? So there you go. What we're going to do right now is we're just going to play the whole thing. It's basically, it's going to be rough because that's all it is. I'm going to let you guys hear just the whole conversation. So all the hums and hums and, all that stuff. All right? So, yeah, I've been pretty busy. Yeah. Yeah, the Cheryl Coker one, to me, is the Cheryl Coker case it's very similar to a bunch of other cases. But this is one that just seems so obvious. I don't know why the guy is still walking around just based off of circumstantial evidence alone. Okay, so I'm just gonna switch it over to Google Earth, and then I'm just gonna start playing it. It's gonna be start to finish. You aren't gonna have. You're not gonna miss any. I guess you missed the first couple, like 40 seconds or so, when we were just saying, hey, what's going on? All right, so hold on. And they might even be watching right now. Are you out there? Barb, Tina, Shelly, I heard you wanted to watch it. Make sure to, if people have questions, you can answer them. Okay, here we go.
Continuing to keep Cheryl out there, that it does mean a lot, and I know that I wanted to.
She said, "Thank you for continuing to keep Cheryl out there."
Talk to you for a while, but it's just been hard, and not knowing really what to say or what to do. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And how are, and you are, I can't remember.
I'm Cheryl's sister-in-law. I'm
Sister-in-law,
her
that's what I thought. Okay.
brother's wife.
Okay, and it looks like the other two are on here right now.
Hello.
Shelly,
yeah, I'm on.
Shelly and Tina, best friends?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
That means there's three people on here.
I guess, I mean, I've been covering it since the beginning, so we were always looking at all the different, the timelines and everything. And I think everybody's pretty squared away with all of that. I mean, it seems really obvious that, the car left the property at maybe, close to 11, 10 something. Well,
10:52.
And then it drove over to the
10:52 or
10:52. Then drove over to the mall area, dropped off the car. Then you see the figure walking. And then here, this is me jumping back in. It's actually probably more like 10:48 is something like that when they left the house, because at 10:52 is when you see the car pull up into the parking lot and the guy get out. Then they walk all the way back around, and then two witnesses saw them. And then, of course, they're not going to walk to the front door, because then you'd know exactly, where that person was going. So they go back behind by the school, and they're caught on 3 different cameras.
Right. I want to just note about that, him walking behind the house, or that figure walking behind the house.
Mm-hmm.
When we would have family get-togethers, like on the 4th of July, or he's even done it on New Year's Eve, he would put all fireworks in the schoolyard. So he would walk down, I think it was like 2 or 3 houses, and walk around behind the house, or behind their property.
Mm-hmm.
He would set off the fireworks, and then he would jump that fence. It was easy for him to jump the fence because there was a chain link fence behind their white privacy fence.
It would just been amazing if one of those cameras had just pointed a little bit more to the right.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, it's interesting because you can actually see the white privacy fence and then the chain link fence, right? It wasn't a great model, but you can actually see it right there. All 3 of them basically are pointing at the same location, just that but the camera's in a different spot. So that was sort of frustrating.
It didn't pick that person up, to my knowledge, jumping over the fence, but I've seen him jump that fence several times, so I know he can do it.
It just shows them walking by the camera. I don't know if they didn't release some of the footage that they have there, but it's really obvious. You got a car that left Cheryl's house. And then all of a sudden, the person who was driving that car is within 30 feet of the house on surveillance on the school cameras, right? I mean, so the odds of that not being... Yeah, so basically, this is how crazy this is. How could it not be the husband, okay? The car leaves the house at 10:51, and at that time, Bill Coker's car is in the driveway. Okay, his truck is in the driveway. There's actually 3 cars. I didn't know that until this interview, that there was 3 cars. She had a work car, her own car, and then Bill Coker had a car. The work car was in the street, and Cheryl's car was in the driveway with Bill's car. Anyways, so Bill is at home, okay? And Cheryl's car leaves, and it ends up over here, and not Cheryl, but a person in all black gets out of the vehicle right here at 10:52, and we actually timed this out using Google Maps, and it's almost exactly the number from here to here, and then all of a sudden, that same person in all black is witnessed in this area at 11:13, or actually that's when the 911 call, so it's probably more like 11:10 or 11:08, something like that. So 11:08, something like that, and then the person walks down this street, is seen again right here by somebody, and then it's picked up on surveillance at 11:09 and 11:10 right here. And look at that. So you're going to tell me that's not somebody that was at the house. A car leaving with a... Look how close this is. You have to be this driveway and right here. So you have the person in all black leaving here, obviously, because that's who got out of the vehicle. And then that same person in all black is seen right there. You only have this little bit of space to say, oh, wait, that's not him. It's ridiculous. Somebody associated... I think everybody thinks that the husband is the one who did this, Bill, okay?
Right.
And I've said that
and
1,000 times. You know.
Well, Bill has said that admitted he was home.
Look at that. My Nightbot's working. Yay! Okay, now this is the part. I didn't really know this. I didn't know that Bill had said he was at home this whole time. So listen to this. Let me just rewind that a little bit.
All kinds of allergies, and he has like some kind of filter stuff in their bedroom that he sleeps there. You know, and Cheryl has told me she sleeps on the couch, he sleeps in the bedroom. So what made it different that night before she disappeared? Why all of a sudden
October 2nd.
he wants to claim that he slept downstairs?
Yeah. I mean, there's... What about the witnesses that say they saw a truck in the driveway? Because if you look at Google Earth, it's a one-lane driveway, but you can actually see that they've expanded it. Well, on the older Google Earth, if you go forward to now, they've expanded it so that two cars could fit into the driveway.
Right.
Was his truck?
And they
Bill
when
has
they
a
bought
truck.
when they bought his truck, they had that area expanded
Okay.
so that we could pull his truck up closer to the house instead of on the side of the...
All right, so that was
The
between
street.
August
Now, was his car
2016
parked
and July.
There, are there witnesses that place his truck in the driveway?
Yes,
Yeah.
both vehicles were in the driveway. Both of their own vehicles were in the driveway.
So where does he claim he
And then
was if he wasn't? I mean, that's what's so bizarre. The car takes off, and it's not Cheryl. I think I didn't hear them a minute ago. I just didn't realize at all that he was claiming he was at home the whole time. In the car, we know now because it's the guy wearing black. So how is he? What is he claiming Cheryl did? Like he admits that he was there, right? Right there.
But he says he was
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he said he was there, yes, but he says he
Yes,
was
he was
sleeping.
in the. Yeah, it was in
Sleeping.
the affidavit that he even claimed that he was there, and he claimed that he went back to bed after Cheryl said that her car wouldn't start, and then he went out to try to start it, and then he told Cheryl that the battery was dead, but he's claiming that she was in the shower.
Oh man.
But also, the neighbor said that they seen him jump in the car around 9, and that was, this is one of my concerns. Is she wouldn't have been in the shower at 9. She would get in the shower around 8:00 because she's got to be at work by 9.
Mm-hmm.
So she wouldn't have known her car was dead. You know what I
And
mean?
it was a nice. It was warm that day, so she wouldn't have gone out there to heat her car up. I think it was
Before she got ready.
Yeah. So when was this is the affidavit out there for public consumption? I've never seen that.
It is. I'll email it to you.
Yeah, and Barb sent it to me, so now I have the whole affidavit. But I'll probably do that on a different show because it'll take a while to go through the whole thing. Yeah, definitely email. Do you have my email? I can tell it. It's GRAY.
Let me just.
It's like it's not. It's phonetically saying Hughes. So GRAY and then HUZE2 @gmail.com. I always have to say this about 100 times for some reason. I mean, I've seen some Yeah, no Z. Yeah, I need an email address that just says Jim at gmail.com. Well, it's GRAY. H as in Harry. You mean like Jim, like GYM? UZ as in zebra, E, and then 2@gmail.com. Just the number 2 there.
Okay.
Yeah. So there you go.
Well, I don't have. I just have the search warrant affidavit. That's all I have. But that is basically Bill and Aaron's version of events that happened.
All right.
So,
Which we is part. There's definitely some lies in there. Because on the one thing that she says, Aaron, remember she's saying they were friends. And in June when I talked to Cheryl, she was saying that Aaron was texting Bill saying, I just want it to be you and I. And that's my point. A friend's not doing that. A friend's not trying to steal your husband. You know, Aaron knows what she got into when she got involved. That's not a friend. And then a friend doesn't text. Oh, okay. In August, what it is when she says that Cheryl texts her saying, if I'm gone, I forgot what it exactly says in the affidavit. If I'm gone, well, basically, will you still be Bill? Cheryl didn't want Bill and her together. So we know it wasn't Cheryl, and it's the day that Bill was off. So I think he texted Aaron from Cheryl's phone while Cheryl was in the shower and deleted it, and Cheryl never knew it was sent.
Yeah. Or just knew what
because that text was sent.
Yeah, or he knew what he was just about to do, so he didn't care about deleting it.
Right.
Right, and with that text that supposedly Cheryl sent Aaron, would you still love Bill if I wasn't around? Aaron claims on the affidavit that she doesn't recall saying anything to Bill about that text that Cheryl has supposedly sent.
Cheryl.
And Aaron's the girlfriend, so I thought from the beginning, I think there's some involvement on her part. I don't know if that's true. It's just my theory, because I think he's had to have had help. Somewhere along the way, he had to have had someone help him.
Are they still seeing each other?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she's over there probably 90% of the time.
Oh, man. God, that's... Ooh.
And she's been there for quite a while, since, before Christmas? Like a couple months after Cheryl went missing?
Yes. Yeah.
That she's freely been over there.
Are they friends? Were they friends, Aaron and Cheryl?
No.
So they weren't friends at all prior. I mean,
Cheryl knew about Aaron, and that was basically it. You know, and because Cheryl had told me that Bill had a girlfriend, and I was like, "What?" She was like, "Yeah, he has a girlfriend," and I'm like, "Well, she told me since May, but I think Aaron's claiming since April." So, yeah.
Wow.
Of 2018, before Cheryl went missing.
Correct. But supposedly Aaron and Bill started dating of April or May of 2018. Cheryl told me May, but like I said, I think Aaron's claiming April of 2018.
And this is but there was like a swinger sort of thing going on, right? That's a true...
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
But they had an understanding that you weren't supposed to start seeing somebody exclusively, right?
One had to know about the other beforehand.
But they weren't supposed to get feelings ever.
Wait, what was that?
No feelings were supposed to be involved, though, towards somebody else.
Yeah, that never happens. You know what's weird is I don't know how anybody would ever actually agree. It's hard I could never do that. I guess I'm just lame or something.
And I've told Cheryl myself.
Right.
You know, when Cheryl... Oh, sorry. But when Cheryl told me about it, you know, I was like... I said, I don't know how... I said, how can you watch your husband walk down the hallway into your guys' bedroom and not want to punch that bitch out? And she's like... she goes, well, you know, we've never been happy in our marriage. It makes things exciting. So, I mean, I think...
Right.
Yeah.
And then the thing is I tried to warn her about, because we went to school with somebody whose mom and dad were swingers, and of course the mom fell for somebody. And I knew Bill was going to fall for somebody. I knew it was going to be Bill. I didn't think it was going to be Cheryl. And that's why I was trying to warn her about that. You know, I'm like, oh, I don't think this is good, Cheryl.
But Cheryl loved to please Bill. You know, she always took up for Bill. I mean, Bill would say the rudest, meanest things. There has been times where they have gotten into an argument and he's left bruises on her arms. And then, you know, and there's times right before I would see Cheryl, she would tell me, she goes, well, Bill thinks that you hate him. And I'm like, why? Well, because he knows I tell you everything. And so he knows that you know what all he's said and done. And I would say, you know, you have to live with him. I just hope that you're okay. And so she's like, yeah, things are really getting better. And, you know, like I tell everybody, their marriage was a marriage, always working on a marriage. And, you know, ever since, I don't know, probably a couple years into their marriage, you know, it was always very rocky. But she would always try to make things work.
Yeah.
And we did. She did. And, you know, we, like, the family had no idea about any of this until after she went missing. And, of course, there's things that go on in a marriage that you don't tell your family, every little detail. I'm glad that Cheryl had Tina and Shelley to share with and to vent to them about things that were going on between her and Bill. I mean, we always felt like, and I'd known Bill for almost 19 years, but pretty much the whole time they were married. But he always seemed like such a quiet, odd character. Someone who was always like sitting there watching. So it was surprising to me to know that he had a girlfriend. And I saw Cheryl the day before she went missing. We had flown home for a wedding that weekend, and she had told me, and that was the weekend that he took off on that trip to Florida. She didn't know the girlfriend was going.
And her daughter, too, right? And her daughter.
Yeah, and her daughter. And so when we first flew in, it was on a Friday. Didn't have much time to spend with her, but she had told me about we were talking about the divorce. And she's like, well, Barbie's got a girlfriend, and I've asked him 3 times to stop seeing her. And I'm like, oh, my God, Cheryl. I said, I wouldn't have had to ask once. But I didn't know about the other things. And then she was telling me that, you know, I knew that she had filed, and it had been within maybe a week from that point that I saw her. And then she told me that he tried to run her off the road. So I'm like, Cheryl, are you serious? Do you feel safe? And the only thing she did that now it causes alarm to me, because when I asked her, I'm like, Cheryl, do you feel safe there? And she just kind of shrugged her shoulders in that unsure way. So, you know, then someone came outside and our conversation got interrupted, so we didn't get to talk anymore about it. But she did tell me another time, too, that when Bill had left with the daughter that Thursday morning to go to Florida, he turned around and said to her, you will be gone when I get back. And they got into an argument. Then she said in front of the daughter, see how your dad's talking to me. So, you know, we had talked to her, like, during that time, my husband and I did. We're like, you know, just be careful. Going through a divorce can be very heated. You want to make sure he's not recording you to use it against you when you go to court. We had no idea or any thought that maybe she was in danger.
Yeah.
So,
all of this, Cheryl was making sure she dotted her I's, crossed her T's, because she was fearful of him trying to make sure that she did not see Michaela. You know, she was, you know, she wanted to move out, but she couldn't because it would have been considered abandonment. And, you know, so she tried to do everything she could, you know, and when she was putting in applications, when it was time for her to be able to move out, you know, she was telling me all the things that she needed to get. And I said, well, what about things in your house? And she said, well, Bill said I couldn't take anything. And I said, well, Cheryl, I said, half of that stuff in that house is yours. And she goes, I know. She goes, but he told me I wasn't allowed to take anything. And I said, well, it's not fair to you to where you have to move out and start all over. And I said, you know, you have a living room set, and then I said, you have couches downstairs in the basement. I said, you should be able to take something. But she's like, I just want to get out of there.
And she had made the same comment to me that weekend as well, as far as things in the home. She said she didn't want anything. She wanted nothing out of there. And I'm like, Cheryl, you're crazy, because that's a lot of money. They had a lot of high dollar items in the home and on their, you know, just things that you need to rebuild your life. And she just didn't want any of it. She just wanted to get this court proceeding done and to get out of it. But I didn't understand, and I wish I would have understood now, that she was really fearful.
Yeah.
Right.
What's the part about well, I was going to ask about when you were saying a minute ago about the almost being run over. And I remember there was something about a surveillance camera being turned off or something.
Well, I'm a little confused on the surveillance camera at their home. I was told by someone in the family that he had broke the camera a few weeks prior to her missing. But then when I went back and asked that person, I didn't remember saying that, but they did have an extensive surveillance camera, and they had one inside the home as well.
Oh, wow.
But after talking to Cheryl's mom, that had broken over the summer. That had been broken. I've heard that he accidentally broke it, and
Whenever I come across someone with a missing loved one, I mention grey hues to them. Grey and the Freak family are the best. I hope that's okay with you. Grey hugging face, growing heart face, blowing a kiss.
No, that's not okay. Yeah, thank you very much.
you know, well, yeah, he accidentally broke it. That's what I heard. But Cheryl liked having that camera in the home and outside the home. That way she could see what, you know, make sure her daughter got home safely after school, and, you know. But it was my understanding he broke it. I thought it was a couple weeks before she went missing, but after talking to Cheryl's mom, I think it was broken in the summer.
And what, now I can't remember which month it was. Wasn't it in October? October,
yes. October 2nd.
Yeah, so it still can be warm out there. Just starting to get cool, but...
Well, it was unseasonably warm. When we were there, it was in the 80s, and even that morning, it was around 70, 75 degrees.
Did any other houses have cameras that were picking up motions of... Maybe you don't know about those, right? Police probably have that.
Right.
But the key would be to figure out when did his truck leave the house? After you see the person coming back.
He met Aaron for lunch.
He what was that?
He met his girlfriend for lunch. So I don't know the time frame, but I'm thinking, you know, it had to have been maybe around noon or something that he had left to meet his girlfriend for lunch that morning.
Wouldn't you love to be a fly on the wall on that conversation?
Right.
Yeah. Right.
You know,
That's
high
why
fives.
I feel like she had something to do with it as well. I mean, I've always felt like with this timeline, and I know that he met her for lunch, and then he made sure afterwards people saw him outside working in the yard. And the next day he went to work and he had scratches on his arm, and, you know, and someone had asked him and he had said, oh, I was, you know, working in the yard, you know, so he had an excuse for that.
God.
Yeah. But, you know, someone had told me, you know, when like a married guy goes away on vacation with a girlfriend or vice versa, you know, they're away from reality and they're having fun, and they could have saw Cheryl as a nuisance, you know.
Yeah, that's exactly how I pictured it too. I pictured them going on a trip together and sort of, you know, that's when the plan was made on that trip.
Right.
The plotting, you know, when maybe when the kid was asleep or something, they would. I don't know. Yeah, that's what it feels like. But it's weird.
Right.
I'm trying to, you know, you piece together. You have the truck, his truck in the front of the house. Was it there? Did anybody see a gap in time where it went missing between 7:35 and 10:51?
I don't know. Well, I know the name. No, I don't know that. I don't know if that. I know that he was seen outside working on her work vehicle around 9 or 9:15, and her work vehicle because she was a crash technician, so she had a.
So it's weird that he's seen a lot. You know, he's seen outside at 9, working on her vehicle, and then he's seen mowing the lawn and doing things. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. He seems to be trying to make it look like he's been around. Oh yeah, no, I was never. I don't know. It's really bizarre. There's got to be a time frame where they don't know where he was. That's probably what they're looking for. And where could he have gone?
It was a Ford Transit vehicle, and it was a new vehicle as well. So there would have been no reason she would have gone out to start that, warm it up before she went to take a shower. And supposedly he said the battery was dead, and he tried to jump it, and he said it wouldn't work. But the odd thing is that one of her coworkers had reached out, and when they had to come get the car the next day to tow it, you know, with the hood release on the inside, you know, it has that cable. Well, that cable was broken. And I guess the mechanic's like, well, that's odd that cable's broken that way. Because they could, when they went out it was the next day that her co-workers came out to start the car, and they did that because we had called her work to see if she was at work, because we didn't realize that she didn't go to work on Tuesday because it was late Tuesday night when we found out she was missing. So the next day, we had called her work, and they had told us that she didn't come into work, and that's when they went out and towed the car because it had sensitive items in it.
So they towed the car from in that the shopping mall over there?
No, they towed her work car from her house.
Oh, well, what was the car that was over there at the that was driven?
That was her personal vehicle.
Oh, so there's 3 vehicles total.
There's 3 vehicles.
Right.
And her work vehicle was parked on the side of the road, in front of the house, but on the side of on the street.
I see. Okay.
And we had heard from neighbors that they saw Bill out there with Cheryl's personal vehicle in front of her work vehicle, like he was trying to jump it. I don't know why. I mean, my thought process is he's probably trying to get rid of her work vehicle to make it look like she'd gone to work that day.
But the work vehicle
why not use
worked,
his
though.
truck?
There was nothing wrong with it, though, right? The work vehicle.
With the work vehicle, they couldn't get it started.
Oh, so maybe there was. Okay.
So I don't know what he did, what he was doing, but even when the work company came out the next day, on the 3rd of October, and they towed her vehicle in, my understanding is the mechanic was confused when he tried to open the hood and it wouldn't open, and that cable had been broken. And he made a comment about it. Really strange. It's hard to break that cable.
But what we were wondering was he going to possibly drive the work vehicle instead of her personal vehicle? Because the work vehicle was a work vehicle. Her personal vehicle was going to be in his possession, and we believe it was paid off.
I see.
Right, Barb?
Yeah, I think it was.
Was there a GPS device in the work vehicle?
No, Toyota's only. Oh, the work vehicle, yes. Yeah.
Huh.
Because I I say that I'm pretty sure it would be because she worked.
And I asked that because I was wondering why he would have wanted to use that. But I guess the reality, this is me live, by the way. I guess the reality of it is that he knew that there would be a record of the car leaving the house to the Kroger area. He knew that for sure. So he wasn't really concerned about the GPS or anything like that for that.
With I think
and that's why he came up with, oh yeah, I was just sleeping. I slept right through my wife being kidnapped.
It was Department.
That's basically what he wants everybody to believe. That he came home, and I guess it was after 9 o'clock or something. He took a nap. Maybe, I don't know when he claims to take a nap, but he took a nap, and he slept through his wife being kidnapped. But he was there the whole time. He just missed it all. I mean, what a miracle, everybody.
Transportation, and she was a crash technician, so I'm sure that it had GPS. But my understanding of the two Toyotas, because he had a Toyota Tundra and she drove the Toyota Highlander.
He has a
Tacoma.
The Toyotas do not have GPS. Did he have the Tacoma?
Yeah. That's what he.
Yeah. So, but those vehicles, Toyotas, do not have GPS.
Okay, I'm going to do a quick, for people who don't know this case, because I got a lot of new people on the channel, I have a quick timeline, okay? So approximately 7:35 a.m., Cheryl phone records show she arrived back at home after dropping her daughter off at school. So they live right here. This is their house with a swimming pool right here. So just focus really quick here if you want to know what the basic information is on this case. So there's a house right here. This is where Cheryl and Bill live. She drove her child to school, which is right over here. And then she drove back. And she was back home at 7:35-ish. Okay, then at 7:40 to 7:45 a.m., Cheryl makes several Facebook posts. And then she's never heard from again. Okay? At 7:35, Cheryl's phone pings at her house all the way up until 10:51. Okay, so imagine that. Cheryl arrives home with her phone. I think she's killed in the house between 7:35 and 10:51. Probably more like between 7:35 and 9 o'clock. Her phone's still in this area. That's why it pings in this area. And around 7:52 a.m., Cheryl's cell phone pings near Kroger's because the vehicle, her phone, and other items like that, and I don't remember exactly what was in there, purse, I know it was like her cell phone and keys, something like that. Right here, it was driven like this, went right down this road, you see it right on surveillance footage. Thank you, Kyron. So that means that it's only about a minute drive. That is reality. This drive right here. So the phone did ping here at 10:51. Then at 10:52-ish, it pings here. So it could have been 10:52 and 40 seconds. Who knows. But right around 10:52, it pings here. But the car came in like this, drove across, slowed down here, and then it sort of seemed like it changed its mind about something, and then parked right in this stall right there. Okay? And at first, they didn't release anything except that the car was there. Then months and months later, they released footage of a person in all black exiting the vehicle. That wasn't Cheryl, it was a man. Okay, and that person walked this direction. And I took Google Maps, the walking time, and it's just ludicrously how accurate it is. The person walked here. They probably walked down like this. They may have cut across somewhere. We don't really know. But eventually, a witness saw them right here. The person in all black, the same person that got out of the car here. Well, how do you know, Gray? Well, there wasn't a ninja convention going on in that town that weekend. Okay, so right at this intersection right here, a man witnessed him in all black, a person in all black, and got suspicious. So went around the block and saw him again here, But at that point, the person covered their face. The one person in all black covered their face, and they had a hoodie on. So a whole black outfit, a hoodie on, and that's because he's very recognizable. A bald-headed guy, what he looks like. And so what he did was he walked around the back like this, and he's picked up on 3 surveillance camera shots from the high school, or the grade school, middle school, I guess it is. And look how close it is. So you're going to tell me that's not the same person who left the house. He's right there. You see him on surveillance, walking about like right there. And that means that the person in all black was here at one time, pulling out Cheryl Coker's car, and then in all black right behind the fence at the house. Okay? So, and then later in the evening, Bill Coker, the only suspect and the named suspect by the police in the case, is seen at the same Kroger over here, checking to see if there's any sort of buzz around the car. Of course, he goes into Kroger and buys some things, but you know why he was really here, just checking to see, hey, just checking on his handiwork. Okay, so he goes into Kroger, and he's wearing all black, but this time he has black shorts on and a black t-shirt, and they notice that he's got a scar on his left elbow. Okay? So that's the general information in the case. And this interview has a lot of sort of the extra circumstantial stuff.
And them.
Okay.
Which is strange. You would think a Toyota would. I mean, they're not cheap cars.
So he has the... that's crazy. So you think maybe he was trying to start the work vehicle. Oh, and as we just learned, he claims, out of his own words, that he was there the whole time. So while he was in there sleeping, somebody else in all black took the vehicle to Kroger's. And then thought they'd come back too, because they were so stealthy the first time, they knew they wouldn't wake up Bill the second time. Give me a break, everybody. Just to not have any of their vehicles involved with it, and then he could get, it would be his car if she disappeared. It was paid off, and then but he couldn't get that started, so then he just said, crap. Okay, well, I'll just use this one.
Yeah, that's the point.
Right.
So if he's outside around 9 something, then I mean, you guys probably don't believe she's still alive at this point, right? I mean.
No.
Right, yeah. Okay.
No.
So he's probably had already killed her by that time. When he's outside at 9. There's no way in hell he's going to be...
Right, because, I mean, a coworker reached out to her. What time was it, Barb? Like 9:15
or... It was between 9 or 9:15, and had sent Cheryl a text and said, hey, are you coming in? Cheryl could work from home, but it was my understanding she had to go in on Tuesdays because she had to get her caseloads for that week. So they were expected to be there at 9 on Tuesday. So her coworker had texted her and asked her if she was coming in, and she said, or there was no response. Cheryl did not reply.
And Cheryl's a person that's always on time. She's a very responsible
and would have replied.
Worker.
Yeah.
And would have replied. Or she would have said something the night before or very early that morning.
Yeah, but would have replied if she didn't do that, right? I mean, like...
Right. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but
Cheryl had her phone on her all the time, and yes, she definitely would have. I mean, especially, like I said, she dotted every I and crossed every T. She needed that job because she was planning on living on her own.
I think she... Right. Well, so she made it home, and then... from dropping the child off at school, and then was texting, Facebooking, messaging till like 7:40.
So like 7:46.
7:46. Okay.
There was nothing after that.
Right. There was nothing else after that.
It's almost like he came up right behind her while she was Facebooking or something.
Right. And the other thing that I find puzzling and disturbing, and I can't talk about anything that I'm not supposed to talk about or the detectives have shared with me. But one thing that I do find puzzling is the fact that when it was a year ago, it was the middle of February when they considered it a homicide. Well, I got a phone call from a friend of a friend's daughter who works with Bill at Costco. And I guess a coworker had asked Bill, why are they just now considering this a homicide? It had been like 5 months later. And he had told them that they considered it a homicide because her Fitbit went to zero. And he made, I can't remember exactly what he said, but something to the effect, they're saying that's when her heart stopped, that, her Fitbit was at a normal pace, it jumped up to 120, and then it dropped to zero.
Oh, like adrenaline and then zero.
One thing that's disturbing to me about that is that I've worn a Fitbit for, 6-7 years. It has never dropped to zero, ever. When I take it off, it stops recording at what it was. So if my heart rate was 70, it just stops recording at 70.
So it wouldn't be like, well, let's say it was beating, but it was 10 beats a minute. Would it record that?
No, I don't know.
Well, see, that's the thing. It's like if it's still on and maybe it's heat. I don't know how those things work. I'll be honest with you, but
and maybe that's something you can ask your viewers if any of them has a Fitbit, if it showed that their heart rate dropped down to zero.
Yeah, and then what they could probably do is put it on maybe they could put it on a different part of their body that doesn't have a beat in there, but then just see if the heat keeps it recording. You see, because the thing is like it would be recording, but then there would be no beats if you died, but it would still be on. I don't know how it works, so I don't know if heat keeps it going. Does it record?
Why not Barbara? She's taking hers off, and it stopped. There's like no data.
Stopped recording. So I don't know what.
That's when you take it off, though, right? So if you don't take
I take it off, it's never gone to zero. It stops recording at the rate.
Right. So you wonder if body heat is what keeps it kind of going, right? Because you took it off, but what if you kept it on and your heart rate went to 30, 20, 10?
Well, that would be a sign. I probably need to see a cardiologist.
Yeah, she just. See, that's true. Like that's true, but that's what I'm saying, though. But let's say she just punked me right there. Okay, that's not what I was saying. They're saying every time you take it off, it quits recording. But I'm saying, what if it was on? And let's see. Go ahead. I'm gonna keep playing. I'm going with dying.
Because I wear it on my wrist, and I monitor my heart rate a lot, especially if I'm doing walks and I see like a spike in it, or, I do monitor mine a lot. Every day I look at to see what my heart rate, just for physical fitness purposes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I know other people think that. Go ahead. That was just one of the things to me that was bizarre that he was telling his coworkers, that he works with. And it's my understanding too that the coworkers have been asked not to talk about going on either.
And he could have just made that up to give a reason why. Like it's nothing, But although that does, suggest that she was killed, like because if it went up to one, it seemed really specific what he was saying.
Right.
Hey, there's actually 3 people, Claudia, on this call. Just to let you know. Barb, Shelley, and Tina.
That it was at a, whatever it was, and then it jumped up, and then it dropped to zero.
Mm-hmm.
And I just find, like, when I do, like, a hard walk, I could see my heart rate go up, and then, but it gradually comes down. It doesn't just,
But as long as you have the watch on, it's always monitoring your heart rate, right? That's kind of what I was getting at. Yeah. I probably worded it awkwardly. Is maybe it's still always monitoring your heart rate when it's on, and while it was on her, when it was on her, it was still on her, and it went to zero, and her body heat was enough to keep it trying to determine her heart rate, and then it was zero. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, well, right. I see what you're saying.
Okay, do you guys get what I'm saying now? See, when she was wearing the Fitbit, and you have it on, it's always monitoring. What makes it? How does it know when you take it off to stop monitoring? It must be determining your body heat, right? It must be aware of something like that. So what I'm saying is, if it's still on you and your heart starts slowing, and it completely stops, it might actually record that happening because it's still on, your body's still warm for a while, right? Is it just purely just movement? It has nothing. I don't think so. I don't know. If it was movement, then if you took it off and started running with it, it would do something.
Thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
So maybe that is something that happened.
I want people that have one to
Fitbit on
answer,
all the
not
time?
guesses by people.
Okay.
Yeah.
She did. And boy, I saw it that weekend that we were there, and I just remember like looking at it and thinking, "Oh, that's really cool. I like the band that she had on." Just thinking to myself about it. I remember seeing it.
But the way that she got that Fitbit, Bill got it for her because Bill told her that she repulsed him, that she had gained a bunch of weight, and he wanted her to lose weight. And so he got her a Fitbit.
Wow. He actually said that word? Like, you
Yeah.
Yes, and that's why, yes, she did. And then, she lost a lot of weight. And then when they came out to Kansas, right before, that's a thing that she said, Bill thinks you hate him. We're in a good place now. Because I told her, I said, I want you to lose this weight for you, not for him or anybody else. And she's like, oh, I know. And then when I seen her when she came out, I was like, holy crap, she lost a lot of weight. And she's like, just please don't say anything to Bill. And I wouldn't, because I know that she would get the repercussion if I did.
Mm-hmm.
So
was he physically abusive to her, or more mental?
He has been physically, where, like I said, he's left bruises on her arms, but a lot more mental, for sure. And
But he was abusive to his ex, too, the mom of his twins.
Mm.
So, he beat her up and put her in the hospital.
Wow.
Because that's the one thing when, so it's one of my points that I wrote down, it said on, when he talked to Mike Campbell on February 19th of 2019, I'm going to quote it. He says, I never in my entire life hurt anyone. But then he didn't mention about putting his ex in the hospital. No.
Yeah, I heard that. That was the guy that was in the car talking to him. The interviewed.
Right.
Yeah.
And just so you know, Gray, Tina has been friends with Cheryl since high
15?
school, middle school.
15.
Yeah.
Wow.
Forever.
And then my basically husband, we just never got married. We've been together since we were 15 too. He's known Cheryl since grade school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Must be really hard on you guys. It's just...
It's horribly hard.
yeah.
It is. We're very angry, and it's hard knowing that he's walking around, and him and Aaron just enjoy their life, and like Cheryl never existed or mattered.
I think it's
Right.
that's the part that's a nightmare. It's like he's just out there. He thinks he's so clever, and he's just enjoying life. Hopefully, he's always stressed out, though, wondering when that knock at the door.
That's what we're hoping.
Yeah.
I hope
want to
so.
ask him so bad, how does it feel knowing that you're being watched? Because, his picture's on the news. Nobody can forget that ugly mug of him or of his, because, my God, he's butt-ass ugly.
Yeah.
So, you recognize him.
Yeah.
But that's what pisses me off. Said that shit about Cheryl, saying, she repulsed him. He was fucking hideous from day one. She's fucking gorgeous. He was, and he pounced on her when he first met her. I remember, because he knew he'd never get somebody as pretty as her, and he got fat too.
Yeah.
Well,
all right. Let it
We
go.
got Tina started.
Let it go. Come on. Get it all out.
Yeah, we got Tina started. Go on, Tina.
Yeah. That was awesome.
But
Like I said, when it comes to
Go ahead,
Aaron,
Alex.
how can she not be involved? I mean,
Right.
what mother in their right mind would date a married man for a couple months, and then all of a sudden his wife goes missing the day after you guys come back from vacation?
And you don't think there's something up with that? Yeah, exactly.
Right, that's what I'm saying. That's why, we feel like she has to know something, or she has to be involved as well.
I think she's involved.
I do not believe that she knew that Aaron went on that trip, because that Saturday of the wedding, her and I were talking, and she said that she had just got off the phone with her youngest daughter and was telling me how her youngest daughter was missing her, wishing she was there. And I'm like, oh, I said, who all went on this trip? And she said, oh, just her and Bill. And I'm like, well, God, no wonder she's bored to tears, So I do believe that if she knew Aaron had gone, Cheryl would have told me. Now, I'm not saying that she didn't find out after we had that conversation, because that was on a Saturday, and they came back on Monday.
So the daughter didn't know that Aaron was there?
I don't know the answer.
Yeah, he's still seeing.
Oh, well, she
Aaron.
said,
Aaron's her name.
Well, I don't know how to answer that.
Okay.
I mean, but I know September 9th of 2018, Cheryl called me and said, well, we're going to tell Michaela, the youngest one, tonight about us getting divorced. And I said, are you sure you want to do it? Because it was a Sunday. And I said, because, she's got all week of school. And she goes, I know. She goes, well, she's got the whole school year. And the three of us were supposed to go to Florida, and it was for her because of some kind of Harry Potter experience thing. And this was her trip. And she said, I don't want her to see her parents fighting all the time when this trip was for her. And Bill rides the rides with her all the time, because Cheryl couldn't, because she had like a neck and back issue to where she couldn't ride the rides. And so she's like, I just want her to have a great time, so I just think it's better off if I don't go. That way Bill and I are not arguing. And I said, okay. And she's like, but I know that he's going to make me look like the bad guy in all of this. And I said, well, if he does, then you bring up Aaron. And she said, I don't want to. I want it to have like a civil conversation. Just let her know, hey, your dad and I are not getting along anymore, and we love you, and just feel like we need to go our separate ways. So I said, well, good luck. Let me know, because Bill and their daughter were at the movies. She's like, well, they're almost home. I'll call you later. She calls me back. I said, how did it go? She said, well, he made me look like a bad guy. She said, we sat down, and the first words out of his mouth was, well, your mom's seeing other guys, and she wants a divorce. So she said, I had to bring up Aaron. And that's how that all went down. So, like I said, it was supposed to have been just Bill and their youngest daughter on that trip.
But do you think that, but see, a minute ago you said that when Cheryl called the daughter said that it was just her and Bill there, unless I didn't hear that right.
Well, no.
No, it was supposed to have been.
I asked Cheryl, it was just supposed to have been Cheryl, Bill, and the daughter. I asked Cheryl who all went, and Cheryl said,
Cheryl said that. Okay.
Bill and her daughter. That's why I don't think she knew that Aaron was on that trip.
But you said that Cheryl talked to the daughter while on the trip, though, right?
Yes.
I wonder if she was told not to mention that, or maybe the other lady went, but they didn't all go together. Aaron, I mean.
They all went together.
They all went, flew in the plane together and everything? Jeez.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm sure he changed Cheryl's plane ticket to her name.
Well, and the whole trip there was drama with the booking of the trip. That was what had happened. We had our niece's wedding in July. He had this opportunity to get these VIP Harry Potter tickets from his work. So he had asked Cheryl a couple times, when's the wedding? And she had given him the wrong date. So he went ahead and booked this non-refundable trip for the three of them. And then it comes to find out she gave them the wrong date for the wedding. So he had already paid for this trip, and there were some issues there, but my husband happened to have been home in Ohio at the time visiting, and he had gone over there and talked to Cheryl, and she was very upset because she did that. And, she was very hurt because it was the same time as her goddaughter's wedding. And so my husband and her other brother talked to her, and they're like, look, you just need to talk to your, the niece, and just let her know, you need to stand by your husband because this was your fault completely, getting the dates wrong. And he paid for this non-refundable thing. And what gets me is that was in July. That was July the 4th. They even had a family get together while he was home, and they had them a lot at Cheryl's house. Most of the family get-togethers were her home. But, but then she ended up not going on the trip, and then she stayed for the wedding. And that's why the daughter wasn't there for the wedding either, was because of that trip. So then she made the decision, because they were getting a divorce, not to go on that trip. And it was a trip to Orlando for, like I said, for that Harry Potter VIP experience. So she had made just the decision not to go because they were getting the divorce. And she thought, it was my understanding, she thought it was only him and the daughter going. But then the girlfriend ended up going.
Right, and then as soon as he gets back, didn't he actually get back that morning? Like
around 11. No, they got back at 11 something on the night before.
So the night before. And then he claims he slept somewhere else in the house, which he
downstairs.
Yeah, which he could have, because now he's just really totally into the other. But I mean, that's sort of irrelevant, though. But it also
he was doing that before, like months before.
Mm-hmm. But he's trying to make it seem like. But he's just trying to say it to make it seem like, wow, I was just so oblivious to everything. I was down in the basement. I just slept all the way through. I mean, he doesn't seem like a guy that sleeps into 11, right? Like,
no,
right.
Or 9.
Yeah, and then there's times where.
See, the thing is, the addresses are all Dayton, Ohio. There's communities in cities. Like I live in a little place called Hillsdale or something, But the thing is, it's still Portland, right? Now look, see Kroger right here. It says Dayton, Ohio, right there. Okay, so the city is Dayton. Now there's communities that might be called Riverdale or Hobbitville or something like that. But it's the city's Dayton, okay?
Cheryl thought that Bill was going to stay at Aaron's house, and so she slept in the bed. But then when Bill got home, he would come home and wake her up, and she would get up, and she would go sleep on the couch.
Yeah, what a monster.
So,
right.
I mean, so even when she was... Oh, sorry.
That's okay. She had also told me she was sleeping on the couch, and she had told me that there were, times that she thought he wasn't coming home, and he'd be like, hey, I'm home now, and she'd get up and go get on the couch. And, I'm like, gosh, that can't be comfortable, especially with your neck. You can't sleep like that. So I don't think it had been a year, maybe a year and a half since I'd been to their house because we had moved to Florida, but I don't think they had like a couch that made out to a bed. I think with the TV area they had set up, they had that theater style seating in it. And then he had his like big gym. It was the basement. Then he had all of his gym equipment in there, and it was just jam packed with gym equipment.
And was he a martial arts guy, like some people say, or?
I've heard that. Yeah.
He is. He
I
taught
always heard he was black belt.
What was that?
What?
He was a black belt, from my understanding.
Yeah, he was. I think it was like Taekwondo or something. Yeah, he even taught it.
Yeah,
for some years too.
Yeah.
Maybe I wonder if he used some of that technique in the way he killed her.
Well, we always wondered like if he choked her.
Allegedly. Okay, we got to throw that out there.
Yeah, allegedly. Because there was, if they didn't find any blood or anything, that's.
Have they checked the entire backyard area like with like underneath everything, the pool and the. I know it's hard. I'm just saying, there's a lot of stuff in the backyard there.
I mean, it's my understanding that has been thoroughly checked.
Okay.
You know, and I would think that if there was a disturbance, the only thing that like I'm concerned about is that swing set area they have all that rubber mulch. So I don't know, like, I mean, we go through all these different scenarios in our mind all the time, like what could have happened, you know, where could she be? And, you know, that's why I just feel like someone had to have helped him.
Well, they must have surveillance. They must have something somewhere where his vehicle, you know, he went to the lunch, but did his car come back at a reasonable time after lunch? Does anybody have that?
I don't know. I know he picked up. I don't know. I just know he picked up their daughter from physical therapy that day.
What time would that have been?
Later on, after she got out of school.
That's the older daughter?
The younger daughter.
Oh, the younger daughter? Okay. So what would that have been, like 3 o'clock-ish, something? 3:15?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, because timelines are really big for what I do. I try to put everything together, and then you can sort of...
And it's my understanding that he went to lunch with Aaron that day. So, and maybe around noon. And then also, I think he was seen outside working in the yard around 1:30, 2 o'clock p.m.
So he made
and
sure
I
he
may
was
be
seen.
off on those timelines.
It's like he's made sure he was seen for a time, for a certain time. So you kind of wonder, he knew nobody was going to find the car or even come up, you know, do any big time searching in his house for a day or so. So I wonder, like, at night is when he made his move. Something like that.
That's what, and that's what I'm wondering too, is like, did he do something at night after the daughter went to bed?
Yeah, because
it's possible.
And it seems, and maybe even I don't know if he had Aaron, that'd be pretty crazy, but maybe she was even over there trying to make, almost like, to make sure the daughter didn't wake up or to have some kind of built-in excuse. Because go ahead.
The cops came around midnight that night after Cheryl's sister had drove around looking for her and the oldest daughter, and and then I believe the cops came to write out a missing person.
That same night, like literally.
Right, that same night. They actually had to wake him up out of bed. They had to wake him up. He was sleeping.
God, that's bizarre.
Yeah.
See, he's got a lot of time is accounted for, but there's these windows, you know.
Right.
So the car was found. I remember that her oldest daughter found the vehicle in the Kroger's, right?
Right.
Yeah, she was over at Clancy's asking people at Clancy's.
Right.
Because I was talking to her all that Wednesday, and because she had called me on that Facebook, and at the time I had AT&T. I live out in rural Kansas, and we don't have very good service, so I guess she tried to call me through Facebook. And I just remember waking up in the middle of the night, I missed a call from her, and I just remember thinking, well, hopefully everything was okay, or it was just some kind of fluke thing, because I had no idea how that worked.
Mm-hmm.
And so the next morning, I seen the messages, her asking me if I had talked to her mom. And so I called her that day, and she was at work. And then, I said, well, did she go to work? So her daughter called Cheryl's work and said that she hadn't been in on Tuesday or, that Wednesday. So then after Marissa got off work, she was going around the area and she went around Clancy's and was asking people, and they hadn't seen her, and she used that Find My iPhone app.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Find My iPhone, something like that.
I'm sorry, maybe she could have already found her vehicle and went into Clancy's while they were, because when I talked to her, she was at Clancy's, and she said, well, I'm waiting on my aunt, and my aunt called the detective. So I'm sorry. So she went to Clancy's after she found the phone.
And do you remember what time that was? What time did she find that?
They found the car around 8:30 on the 3rd. Cheryl went missing the morning of the 2nd. They found the car 8:30 p.m. on the. It was around 8:30 p.m.
Okay, that's what I was saying. So we had the whole night, that first night, the 2nd. The police didn't come over to his house on the 2nd at midnight. It was the following night, right?
No. It was on the 2nd at midnight. Yeah.
Oh, even before they found it was a missing person at that time.
Before they found
8.
I guess
12 o'clock a.m. Wednesday morning.
So that'd be the 3rd.
Right. It was before they found her car that they came out.
I see.
Went out.
Interesting. So they just did sort of a welfare check, kind of came over, knocked on the door, and...
Yes. Asking, have you seen her? No, I don't know where she's at.
I'd like to see that body camera footage on that one.
Right.
See how it was
I know.
Yeah. Right.
Why do you guys think the police didn't release the image of the person all in black walking from the vehicle? That might have spurred some memory from people.
I know, and I think the reason they didn't, whether right or wrong, was because whether or not I agree with it, is what I mean to say, is because at that time he was cooperating with them. And, and I remember like her first week or within the first month of her being gone, I had made a post on Facebook and in one of the groups, and I did get a call from someone who kind of asked me to, if the family starts speaking out, maybe he'll probably stop cooperating. Right now he's cooperating with us. So I think they didn't release that because it's very clear that it's him, and I think they were hoping that he had just come in and confessed. I don't know. But that's the only thing I could think of. I think that at the time he was cooperating and they knew that video would be very incriminating. I don't know.
And it's bizarre because...
but in a way...
Go ahead.
I wish they would have because, I've heard that the school went on lockdown because, of this guy dressed in all black around the school. So, that's just my opinion.
Yeah, and it also could have jogged somebody's memory. Oh, yeah, I saw that guy in black. I mean, it seems like the path is sort of obvious-ish. He went all the way out to Burkhart, the guy in black, I think, and then probably walked down Burkhart Road and then just cut in on maybe either Cawley or Granville, and then that sort of gets you into that.
Granville, Utopia.
I mean, there's a bunch of different places he could have gone through the apartment complexes and all that, but I mean, and then he comes walking down, and then a witness sees him on Monday and Utopia, and then they go around the block because they think he looks suspicious. Then they see him again at Christie Avenue and Spring Garden, and then that's right when that person's heading back, which is him. I mean, it's so obvious.
Yeah,
right. In Utopia, you can pretty much drive into their driveway.
Yeah.
Utopia and Christie, and you can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Todd also said, this is my husband. He said that he had to wear a hoodie also because he's got such a distinctive look, right? Like.
Oh, that was a good point. That I don't know which one that was who was just speaking, but what they're saying is, if you were the guy walking back and you were really going over this direction, why wouldn't you have just walked down this street? There was no reason to go back here. You would have just came down this street and went to the house. But it shows that they didn't want to do a direct route at all, and then sort of went like this. Okay. And just even if you were going over here, let's say the Ninja is nothing, is really an innocent person that we don't know. Let's just pretend that. Why wouldn't that person walk down this street and then just kind of go over here like this? Because they're heading over here. They're seen on camera right in this area. Why wouldn't they have just walked down this one? Why would they go all the way around like that? See? There you go. And this is me live, okay?
Yeah. Some random person, neighbors wouldn't know who that is. But
Right.
Bill's got such a distinct look. He had to wear a hoodie.
Yeah, bald head and
Right.
just kind of a
Yep.
a weird look.
Yeah, he's
Droopy
got
eyes.
Man,
Come
you
on,
guys
do it
still
again.
talking about food.
Come on, get
in
it
there?
out.
Oh my God.
Man.
Like
Go,
laughing.
Tina, go.
And go.
I know.
Tina's really going.
Yeah.
But know that they both were total opposites. He's ugly, she's pretty, she's outgoing, he's a total introvert. And that's another reason why I personally feel like Aaron has to be involved, because he's 100% introvert. He doesn't hang out with people. He doesn't really have any.
The ninja needed to move the car to make it look like she left on her own and just disappeared somewhere with somebody. But it turns out that the car left without Cheryl in it, but some guy in all dark who, by the way, walked all the way back to where the car took off from it originally.
friends.
Nope.
It's weird how many
so-
there's so many cases that are... All the while, Bill Coker slept undisturbed down in the basement. Similar, because just doing what I do, you get these ones that I'm always referencing. Oh, this is like the Coker case. It's just all the time. Cold cases, new cases, just a husband that, kills the wife so that they don't, because they're getting a divorce, doesn't want to pay the child support, doesn't want to have to, and just wants to start fresh. So they kill their wife. I mean, what a stupid, motive.
Right. And
Right.
And Bill was trying to get their daughter, try to tell Cheryl that the daughter was going to live.
Right. He didn't want to have to
With
pay the
him.
support. That was a big part of
Right.
it. I think that's a huge part of
Right.
his motivation was, like, if he could just...
And the alimony.
Yeah, I think if it was just Cheryl said, I want a divorce, I don't want anything from you. You don't even have to pay child support, I'll take care. He
She
would have
would
went,
still be
oh,
here.
wow. Yeah, because I think that's his motive was that he was going to have to pay, some alimony, like you just said, and child support, and it was just going to, that's a huge issue, too, that shows up a lot.
Right. Well, and
Because
letting
he
you
didn't
know,
pay child support for
what-
twins, right?
What was that?
right, he did not pay child support for his two boys, his
Oh.
twin sons.
Huh. Well, was
Yeah,
that
he never paid.
was that a deal
He
he
never
set
paid.
up? Or?
Also, well, it was a deal, but and we knew that that he never paid child support. Cheryl and I had talked about it because I had gone through a divorce and I was getting child support, and I depended on that, to buy food, to pay, utilities and things like that, or things for my kids. I depended on that money.
By the way, I took the opportunity to tell my story about my mom buying the gifts for us here in a minute. So I'm sure you guys have all heard it, but I just brought it up. I don't even know. It was related to what they were saying, but in a different way. I don't know. It wasn't the greatest story to be telling, but it's what it is.
Money. And so when she told me that he didn't pay child support, she's like, oh, yeah, but we buy them everything they want. And I remember, after this happened and I was telling someone, I was talking to someone about it, and then someone had said, hey, he did buy the boys everything that they needed or wanted. But then the person I was talking to was like, that may be, but that's a control issue. When you won't allow that person, when you won't do what you're supposed to do and give them that money and let them use it for the food or utilities or clothing, it's a control issue, because you can come in and look like the good guy buying all these fun things, and it really hit me. It's like, oh gosh, that does make a lot of sense. It is a control issue when you're not giving, the child support directly to the custodial parent. You're giving it to, the kids for the Xboxes or, the the North Face jackets or things like that.
But that's
right.
You look like the cool person.
Right, but Bill is like that because he's a fucking narcissist. Because he, I mean, he blamed Cheryl 4 years into the marriage for him cheating. Okay, look at, I'm the great dad. I'm buying you this and that. Again, it's always, I'm the fucking perfect one.
Well, he wanted to be he wanted his money to go be the hero purchases.
Yep.
Yes.
Right.
Wow, look what my dad got.
Yeah. Exactly, and I never thought of it that way until that person had mentioned it to me, because I just accepted the fact, well, that's cool. They go out and buy the school clothes or the, everything that the kids need. But you're right, it's the hero money that we're using here. That way I'm a good person. Look at what I'm doing for you.
Right.
I had a dad. I had a dad that didn't pay. He didn't pay child support ever, and my mom would took him to court and stuff like that. But I've told this on my channel, for Christmas, and he would show up and he'd take us out to dinner and all these kind of things every once in a while, and we'd think, wow, he's so neato. And then my mom would actually, which is, that's why I was saying my mom's one of the best moms in the world, is for Christmas and stuff, she'd buy all these really cool gifts like the G.I. Joes and the Johnny Wests and say they were from him. And we would get the socks and the underwear and stuff from her. Right. And so our dad was the hero, again, because she wanted us to think that he cared about us. But she only told us this when we were adults.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was kind of like, oh, man. But, whenever he showed up, he did all the stuff like, oh, look at me, acting like he was just some great person, but never sent a nickel in for, 18 years.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
But I just wonder if she, the twins' mom was also scared of him and didn't want to go that route, since he did beat her up and put her in the hospital too. She might have been scared to push that.
Yeah.
And just agreed with him, like, okay,
and
you just pay for.
Right, and his boys don't have his last name either.
Do you guys think that Cheryl was really believed that he was capable of anything like that?
I tell you, I don't. Honestly, when I think back of like that last conversation that we had, just the way that she looked at me when, I asked, when she told me that he tried to run her off the road, and I'm like, do you feel safe? And I'm like, Cheryl, and she just kind of shrugged her shoulders and just like this unsure manner. But then, like I said, something came out and it interrupted our conversation, and we had just flown into Ohio. We had just gotten to his mom's house, and she made sure she was there right away to see her brother, because they're very close and they share a tight, bond, even though they're 9 years apart. But, so
drink every time I do.
We just didn't have a chance to really talk.
Did she ever explain? So you never got a really good explanation of what she meant by being almost run off the road?
Well, I found out later, like through Shelley, because she had told several people he tried to run her off the road. When I thought she had told me, I knew that it had to do with the divorce, but I think it was when she told him she wanted the divorce is when he tried to run her off the road. And Shelley knows more about that.
Oh, because he just loved.
Yeah, it was.
He just loved the scenario that he had. He had this, the wife bringing home money too. He was at home, but he could go out and be with the girl of his dreams on the side. And now the divorce is ruining this perfect setup that he had. So go ahead.
Well, the thing was, he did not want a divorce right away. She told me that they got in a heated argument because she told him he wanted a divorce. That she wanted a divorce. And he was very adamant about not getting one right away. He wanted to wait 2 years until their youngest daughter graduated from high school. And she's like, well, I'm not going to be the third wheel. And then they had to go separate places around the same time. And she said that he tried to run her off the road. I don't know how fast they were going. I don't know where it was. And then he called her, and he said, well, I don't want to get divorced. Let's just wait 2 more years. And he said, let me just pretend that I love you. And she said, I'm not going to have
Jesus, what
son of a bitch act like to act like they loved me.
He actually said that?
He did. That's
Wow.
what she told me.
But what he's really saying, the whole, let's wait till they graduate from high school. It's a clever way of saying, let's wait till they're 18.
Right, yes.
Yeah.
Pay child support.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Right, yeah.
So that's exactly.
He's very money driven. And
what do you think those
So,
emails meant when he was talking about, oh, you ruined me? Something about his hourly wage or
put a
something.
nail in my coffin.
Yeah, what was that all
I don't know
about?
if I would say that because, he's a supervisor there, so they're not going to decrease his wages because he had an affair or he's getting a divorce.
But it was a coworker though.
Maybe garnishing.
Yeah.
Something.
Right, and maybe that's it. I don't know, but I mean, his girlfriend works there with him as well. I don't know if he was her supervisor or that.
I don't either, but I know that. Oh shit!
Didn't you guys have a picture of her? I thought I saw a picture of her at work or something. I don't know. Is that maybe I just heard that and I filled it in my mind.
On her Facebook, it's Erin, ERIN, with a middle initial M, Duffy, DUFFY. So yeah, you probably don't want to know what we call her, but yeah, I mean she's.
Wait, but I'm going to play all this on my show, all this stuff. This whole thing. You guys don't mind, right? Yeah.
But yeah, I mean it's but when Bill told Cheryl I want to say a week or so before she filed, and because this was pretty much the end, she had asked for him to stop seeing Aaron, and he wouldn't. And then he told her, and then, she was still adamant about getting divorced. Then he turned around and changed the story, saying that he was going to stop seeing Aaron. And then he's, that he wanted to work things out with Cheryl. And then he went to go get in the shower, and she said, wouldn't you know, not even an hour after he was telling me how he wanted to work things out, he wanted to get back together, that he was going to stop seeing Aaron. He went to go take a shower. I looked at his Apple Watch and saw a text that he had sent to Aaron saying that he couldn't wait to spend the rest of their lives together. And I said, so he pretty much has a plan. And she said, yes. I said, well, then obviously you know what you got to do. She said, yes. So she filed for divorce, but she told me when she filed for divorce that she was going to have it sent to Costco. She said that way him and Aaron both
have him served at Costco.
Yes, be served at Costco. That way Aaron can see him getting served.
I've heard my stomach 3
divorce.
times, by the way.
And I believe he got the papers, what was it, the couple days before they left for Florida or something?
Right.
Yeah.
Or
But he wouldn't mind that, right?
No, but that's Cheryl, though. That was her little jab, I guess, in her way.
Right.
And then he'd probably be like, all right, cool, now my girlfriend...
No, he's probably well, I mean, obviously he didn't want to pay child support, and, she was going after alimony as well.
Oh, yeah. But see, that's what I think was part of the conversation on that trip. Man, we could be together.
Oh, another thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing she told me was that she filed for divorce, and then a couple days later, Bill told Cheryl, I talked to my lawyer, and he said I told him if I drop things with Aaron, that hopefully you'll drop the divorce. And so she didn't, but then I found out after Cheryl had gone missing, I was talking to Bill's sister, Christy. And because some paperwork with some court stuff came up after Cheryl had gone missing. And
consider it a divorce. That was my Arnold Schwarzenegger. Schwarzenegger. God damn, Schwarzenegger. Man, I couldn't even say his name. What happened? Unbelievable.
So I had talked to Christy. Christy and I were friends as well. Christy was in my wedding along with Cheryl. And Christy said, well, I said something about, well, Bill told Cheryl that if she dropped the divorce that he would no longer see Aaron. And she said, what lawyer? He doesn't even have a lawyer. So that was another lie that Bill had told Cheryl.
What is his family? Are they all backing him, or just some of them are kind of keeping their distance?
I think they're backing him, but I mean, how can you blame them, not to back him, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, that's what people do.
It hasn't been proven or arrested, but I would hope that maybe they would, support Cheryl's family in some way instead of acting like they're victims themselves. They say, well, we weren't asked to do interviews. Well, you can do it just as much as Cheryl's family can. Cheryl was part of their family for 19 years. They can do the same thing. Cheryl was part of their family.
Yeah.
So don't sit back and act like you couldn't have done anything. And go on searches. You love Cheryl. Go on some of these searches.
So who plans all these searches?
Cheryl,
is it like, did Texas EquiSearch come out for some of that?
Texas EquiSearch did, yes. We reached, they reached out to us kind of early on, but we didn't do anything because we weren't sure. It wasn't like there was, I don't know. We were not sure where to look.
Yeah,
but then I think after.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, it's hard. It's like it's a big area, so you just can't go out and start looking. You kind of have to have like
a reason.
There's a madness, and so. But then it was maybe a year ago in February is when they started coming together and working with the detectives and really getting out there and doing some of the searches to see if they could find her. And then, and
who's they? Like when you say they were getting together.
The Texas search team was getting together with the detectives.
So there's a search team that's just in the area, not Texas EquiSearch.
It is. Well, it's the Midwest chapter of Texas EquiSearch. So they have these different chapters all over.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah, and they were really good with they would go, let's just say they'd go to his home and say, okay, he had, an hour time frame. So we're going to go in a direction of 25 minutes, in every direction, and then come back and see if it makes sense that he could have put her here or here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and they would map out, and they've done extensive searches and just, they've exhausted all the areas that they can look at.
I mean, there's that one place right by the house. I'm sure that was first, right across the highway there. That's full of completely wooded area there.
Yes. Yeah. So there's several wooded areas around there, but and
even at the end of the road, right?
I'm sorry. What'd you say?
Even at the end of their road.
Yes, they looked at that one area. That area there too, and then also the one. Yeah, but they've been extensive. We can't talk about like really where they've searched because we just can't, because then if and you can't like publicize where they search, because if that is where he or you could go and move someone,
right,
but
you could move somebody back to a place that was searched, and it would virtually never be searched there again.
It wouldn't. Yeah. But I mean, I know they've exhausted lots of areas. I know they're not. I still think they go out and do things that and do some searches, but it's just not publicized.
So is there a dedicated team of detectives that only work on this case? Seems like it's a pretty big deal there.
It's a small department. So yes, there is and they are working with other agencies as well.
Yeah, well, it seems like he must have been smart enough to turn off his phone. Or not have it with him. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He watched IDTV, just too many episodes.
Right. Right.
Or Forensic Files, or whatever. But, yeah. So what else do you guys? Do you have anything else you want to add that you maybe had down in your notes?
Tina, what you were wanting to say? What Todd was saying about Bill searching?
Oh, okay. Well, he just said if he had any soul at all and was actually innocent, he'd be trying to find her.
Yeah, for sure.
That was. Yeah, I mean, he never acted concerned from the very second.
Yeah, especially for their daughter. Do it for their daughter.
Well, you got to realize at first he thought there was no image of a guy in all black walking from the vehicle. He didn't think that was going to be seen, so he could just claim, "Oh, she left it there and took off with somebody," right? Yeah. But then it's like, oops, wait a minute, you have me on camera.
I know when you show on your mapping and you show like how he hesitated at that one building.
Mm-hmm.
That's I think it's an assisted living facility. His mom lives not far from there, or Cheryl's mom lives not far from there. So I know that he didn't want to park the car there because he knew that when his mom drove by, and she goes to that Kroger all the time for shopping, that she would have probably have seen Cheryl's car. That's why he moved it back to the area where it was parked. That way it would probably go unnoticed for a bit.
Yeah, and it's also, like, if you were going to pull over there, there's not a lot of cars parked there. Too many, too often. I guess, I mean, I don't know what time of day, but the car might have stood out. But if you just drive it and park it at sort of near the end, but amongst other cars, it looked natural, you see.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another reason maybe he did that. But
yeah.
Well, traffic at the Kroger's, right? Because everybody's going in and out of there. It's a fairly busy Kroger.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing how perfectly all the timing, everything. I even did a Google Maps how long it would take to walk from there to the house, and it's like within 2 minutes. I mean, it's ridiculous. Everything is so perfectly timed. The drive over there, it only takes.
Well, Greg, when you did that bit, your YouTube thing on October 7th, and you called it out right then, and that was the first week you knew what happened.
Yeah, well, it seemed pretty clear. I guess I don't know. Just by covering so many cases, there's so many. You never really know. There's some cases that have just shocked the hell out of me. Like this one lady went. She was pregnant and she just went missing. And I thought, well, gosh, maybe she took off. Maybe there's a different dad or something. Who the hell knows? But it turned out that she went over to buy a baby carriage from somebody. It was an online ad, but it was really just to lure her to get there. And then they killed her and took the baby out and then went to the hospital and went, well, yeah, it was the craziest thing I've ever heard. Right? So then you realize that sometimes there's just the absolute bizarre thing that happens when you don't really think that. Was that really?
You were covering it recently. I think her name is Lauren. She's from Texas.
Mm-hmm.
It's my mom's friend's family member. So, and she reached out to me because of Cheryl and then her family going through this, and that seems like a very odd case.
Which one is that one?
I forgot her last name. I think it's Lauren. She's from Texas. She was in that wooded area, and she was on the 911 call for 20 minutes.
Like Lauren Thompson, that one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
that seems off.
That one's just totally weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
That one's... I don't have a clue on that one. This one, it just seems like they're having a hard time finding evidence of when the car left again. It must not have been home between... well, I guess there's a lot of hours there. He had between 5 and 12, right?
Yeah.
Although the daughter was there,
Well, he was seen at Kroger that afternoon that she went missing.
What time was that?
Yeah, right? And yeah, that was on the video where they saw the scab on the back, or the sore, or the cut on the back of his above his elbow.
Yeah, when was that?
And,
what time was that again?
That was like at 8:30 at night. So that was on the 2nd, the day that she went missing. It was around 8:30 at night, and he just walked into that Kroger. Honestly, I think he went there to see if maybe her car was still there, or to make sure that, you know, I don't know, maybe just to look at it.
He went back to that same Kroger's? I thought he went to.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
No, that was the same Kroger. That's the same area where he parked the car that morning, or the person in black parked the car that morning. He went. Bill was seen in that same area.
Mm-hmm.
He went back there at 8:30 to buy milk and whatever else he bought. You know,
and he was wearing all black too. All black.
And you know what else he does?
Yeah.
When he's gone to Kroger's, he rips Cheryl's picture down off the board.
The missing picture, the missing photos. We've had it reported that he tears those down.
Oh, but it wasn't that night, though, right? But he just does it.
No,
he couldn't have, because there's nothing.
Night.
Yeah, so just since then he's been tearing them down. Wow.
Yeah, we've been told that by Kroger employees that they've seen him walk out of Kroger because they have put the missing pictures of her on their bulletin board. And it's a bulletin board right as you come out the store, and we've been told that he's been seen taking those pictures down.
That says something to me.
Doesn't he just feel? He must feel like he has to feel shameful walking around. You know, I mean, people. There's anybody.
So he is. He thinks he got one over. You know, that's why I can't wait till he rocks.
Yeah, well, like I said before, I'm just hoping you guys have been following along. You know, all these genetic genealogy cases that are being solved from like 1970 murders where they're
right. I was watching some of those the other night.
Yeah, they're amazing. They take their genetics, put them into the ancestry websites, and then find their relatives, and then find out who the killer was. Mm-hmm. And it's the best. It's absolutely incredible. And now all these rapists from 1970 to 1990. 9-ish are probably all crapping their pants every single night when they go to sleep because they know that they left their DNA because they didn't realize DNA existed at the time, right? So,
That's right.
So they're just sitting there going, "Oh my god, oh my god!" And hopefully he feels similar to that.
I hope so. So.
Well, it makes you wonder, but he's living his life like he wants to. He has his girlfriend there. They go for morning walks around the area, and he just...
The way he acted from the beginning, just like he's never had a care in the world, that's why I wonder, if he put her in the trash somewhere, in one of the dumpsters and all that stuff, because the dumps aren't searched hardly, it seems, from my understanding, as I've been, listening to other things and stuff, right? They don't search the dumps enough.
When were they? When was trash picked up compared to? I don't even know what day of the week was that.
Well, the thing is with the whole trash thing, their trash is normally picked up on Wednesdays. Mm-hmm. She went missing on a Tuesday. Their trash is normally picked up on Wednesday. He took his trash out on Tuesday. Well, the trash man came by Tuesday and picked up trash Tuesday afternoon. So we did inquire about that because it was odd that the trash man came by and picked up trash early. But I guess that person had an appointment, that the trash man had an appointment the following day. So their routine, if that happens, would be to try to pick up trash early if people have the trash out.
I see.
But I did hear from somebody that I guess somebody who works at that trash place said Bill did call in. I don't know if that's true or not, but I'm not sure. But they said that he did call in for an early pickup.
For an early pickup, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
But why? Like, why would he do that if she wasn't in there? I mean, I guess she.
Right.
Well, she wouldn't have been in there because it was the day before, right? Well, what day?
No,
the day
Tuesday.
Oh, Tuesday is the day of. Oh, okay. Huh.
Tuesday's the day up, and Wednesday is when the trash should have been picked up, but it was actually picked up on Tuesday, the day that she went missing, or the day that something happened to her.
Wow. And he said maybe if he did call in for that, that'd be crazy.
I know, that's what I wonder.
Well, what time?
But I don't.
Oh, and that would absolutely. I mean, it'd be really dangerous, but you'd have to cover it up really well in the garbage can. But that would allow him to do whatever he wants to do. He could stay at home, and the guy just comes by, dumps the garbage out. And he just looks like everything's the same, and he doesn't even have to deal with being the person that removed the body. Wow.
Right.
God, what a nightmare
I mean,
that
that's.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, to me, that's very risky.
It is.
I mean, I don't necessarily buy into that. You know, of course, our minds go everywhere, and we're coming up with all these different theories about what could have happened and what makes sense. But not having killed anyone ever in my life or ever thought about it, I don't know what makes sense.
Absolutely.
So I don't. We have no idea like what he could have done. I do believe they are working very hard on it, and the detectives, I know they're reaching out to other agencies, and we just want to make sure that they do it, that it's done right, and when they do finally arrest their suspect, that he doesn't get away with this.
Right.
And what are how are the kids doing?
I don't really want to comment on that.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering how they're just doing, in general, but
yeah.
Okay. Let's see.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, you can only imagine that your mom, your number one fan and supporter of your whole life, is gone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I guess you can just imagine how you would feel if something like that would have happened.
Well, I remember the older one. Yeah. I was communicating with it at the beginning. I forgot her name at this. That doesn't matter what their names are, to be honest with you. Let's see. So, anything else at all, or?
Yeah, I can't think of anything else.
I can't either. We do appreciate it, and you, with the time that you've spent on your YouTube and what you've done with your timeline, and I've watched it, and I'm like, it is very, very spot on.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Right.
But
you've been calling him out since day one, and we've been rooting for you behind the scenes.
Yeah.
We couldn't really say anything, and
well, I appreciate you being able to say something now. It's always what's the art. We actually stay on for another 16 minutes. I think something else got brought up. I can't remember. Work of cases a lot of times is at first you hear from, but this doesn't seem like one of the things that people are as supportive of, these interviews. The family members, they want to get the story out, and then the bigger media come in and they sort of take over, but then they don't really care anymore after they've covered it that one time, right? So then the other people like me, we'll just keep covering it anyways, but sometimes we lose the connection with the family and everything. It's bizarre. I'm getting that same thing in the I don't know if you know that the missing persons case out of Idaho. Those two kids. Well, it's the craziest story in the history of mankind, but it would take me an hour and a half just to explain it to you. So I won't.
Well, truthfully, before Cheryl went missing, I would watch the first 48 and all that stuff all the time. And now that she's gone missing, my head wonders all the time, 24/7. And I just couldn't imagine watching something. I mean, me personally, because
thank you, Dan.
I would just put so much more in my head. I mean, it's already affected, our lives.
Oh my God, I watched all. That's the only thing I ever watch now is Investigation Discovery or your YouTube videos.
Yeah, no, I watch. Well, thanks. You guys actually watch my shows, huh?
Yeah, I do. I watch it.
I know sometimes. Some people think I'm mean sometimes, but, you know, whatever. I just got to be mean.
Is this iPhone thing?
Yeah.
It is? Okay, I'll have to look it up. But, yeah, I've never paid attention to any of this stuff before, Cheryl, because, I don't know, you just don't think about this stuff, right, until it affects you.
Yeah, no,
Right.
It's the world. There's a lot of weird stuff going on in the world. It's not like it's not as safe.
Right.
It is safe, but it's not as safe as people think it is. It's just crazy. A lot of evil people out there.
Right.
You know,
I mean, and
also, Cheryl's mom is just devastated. I mean, it's just devastating to everyone in the family. She's having a tough time, and she knows that I talked to you, and I called her today to make sure that, you know, you're okay with this, and she absolutely was. I mean, she has a hard time saying anything against the suspect, Bill, because of her granddaughter, and I totally understand that.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think it's easier for me to say or do the things that I do on social media because I'm not right there, and I feel this is the only thing that I can do because we are in Florida, we're not in Ohio anymore. So I feel like the only thing that I can do is to keep her name out there and on, you know, in social media, and that's why, you know, I reached out to you, and I'm really happy that you are doing what you're doing, and I just wanted her approval, and she definitely did, and so does my husband, and we are on the same page. It's hard for him to talk about his sister. You know.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It's very,
yeah.
yes.
Well, if you guys have any,
So, I mean,
like if you ever have other things that pop up that you were like, oh yeah, just go ahead and we can do another one of these at some point, or you can just send me an email. You got the email. I definitely want to get that warrant that you had. I thought I saw it, but that sounds like there was more detail in that than I remember.
well, I'll send it to you, but you know, I have to tell you, it's tough to read because that was early on, and a lot of the stuff in there is just lies from Bill and Aaron, or they're, you know, I don't know if it's my opinion that it's not
the way
honest.
that they try to portray Cheryl is sickening. You know, they try to act like they were innocent, like, you know, Cheryl would have these guys over while they were sitting in the house, and they would have, or, you know, she would have different guys over, which was totally wrong.
Yeah, she couldn't defend herself, and they were just throwing her under the bus to cast, make it look like she really did just take off, you know. So.
Right. Since day one, Bill has never shown any kind of concern about Cheryl missing or anything. All he has done was pointed fingers at Cheryl. Him and Aaron both have pointed fingers at Cheryl, has never said anything nice about Cheryl. And it's like, this is all Cheryl's fault. So, you know, that's no remorse of his actions, allegedly, I guess.
Yes, everything you've heard on here is alleged.
Absolutely. Disclaimer on there, alleged. Yeah, but you know, and also it's like I know that, you know, Cheryl was she was very good friends with this other person, and I mean, his name was James. I'll put his name out there, but you know, I remember when we were at the wedding, you know, and she had talked to me a lot about him, and I think it was a friend, someone she could confide in and talk to, because he had also gone through a divorce, and I think it just helped her to have him to lean on, and you know, and he absolutely had nothing to do with this.
Well, of
there
course not.
is only one person that could gain or from her disappearance.
And he would have actually gained if she was getting a divorce. The other guy, right?
Yeah.
Like if they were really like each other,
and
he would have been happy.
Right,
with
and
that.
Cheryl told me, I mean, Cheryl saw herself as single. She was going to get divorced. Her husband already had a girlfriend. And when we talked, honest to God, I never really thought that something like this would happen. I just figured Aaron and Bill, you know, with all she's told me, would live their lives. She was going to move out and start her life. Because I would just tell her, Cheryl, you need to find your happy again. And she saw herself as single. And then, you know, when she talked about James, she said, you know, they were friends. And she said, but he told me something that I didn't like. I said, well, what is that? And she said, well, you know, he has a kid that's a minor as well and just went through a divorce. And he told me maybe I should try to work things out with Bill. So, I mean, how could people keep saying, oh, there was some other guy involved when really there wasn't?
Because if people like to create, I get this all the time, they like to create a story that's, ooh, it's more interesting. It's got this neato intrigue to it that they want to add and creates a conspiracy atmosphere, and it gets it going because they've run out of new
Bill
stuff.
Saying,
yeah,
and Bill saying, oh, she was behaving some risky business. What? How could that? You know, that's just him pointing more fingers. And I always say, you point one finger, you got three fingers pointing back at you. You know, so he's just pointing fingers.
Yeah. So, but there is some information in there about where he says how he came back in the affidavit, or the warrant. I mean, what was it again? Affidavit, something like that, or?
Yeah, I guess it was the affidavit for the search warrant.
Yeah, so there's something in there about how he was at home during this time. So he's admitting that.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
He admits he's at home. I have it on email because I sent it to, I think I sent it to Dateline or either People Magazine. So, and I've got it from a Facebook group that put that out there. But I will definitely send that to you as soon as we get off the phone.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, and Bill is off on Tuesdays. Tuesdays are his days off. That's why, you know, this happened on Tuesday, and that text that was allegedly sent from Cheryl to Aaron
in August
was sent.
Yeah.
And when was that text message sent?
The one. Yeah, I think it's in the affidavit. It's in the affidavit.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what's interesting is that was on a Tuesday when he would have been off work, and I think it was sent at like 8:20 in the morning. The timeline that was on her phone with that, and it was sent at that time frame. So he had to have sent that message, and then just deleted it so Cheryl wouldn't see it.
So that wasn't the same day. That was like a month before, 2 months.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, about 5 weeks before.
Okay, then you're probably right. He probably then did delete it in that circumstance.
So she didn't see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was the first thing that he showed.
Right, of course.
That was one of the first things he showed. Yeah.
Look, see?
Oh, yeah.
So that means he'd been planning it for a long time.
Well,
yeah.
Absolutely. And, you know, and I have to say this, and I hope she doesn't get upset with me, but what really pisses me off about that message that Erin had on her phone was within 2 days of Cheryl missing, Bill had the nerve to take that message. Erin sent him a screenshot of it. He had the nerve to take that to Cheryl's mom and say, look at this message that Cheryl had sent to Erin about a month ago.
And that's another reason why I feel like Erin's involved, because on the affidavit, she said that she couldn't recall if she mentioned that text to Bill or not. After she claimed that her and Cheryl were friends. Yeah. If somebody was to text you, oh, would you still love so-and-so if I was gone? And that was your friend. Wouldn't you kind of be concerned about it? Or say something to somebody?
Yeah.
Most people are going to say, like, hey, what's going on? You know, are you okay?
Right.
You know?
Yeah, or what was this about?
But it sounds like it was never talked about from anybody.
Well, but here's the thing. I'm glad that there's other stuff. There's stuff that you can't tell me. So there must be even more information that's like whoa, right? But I just don't get to know. Oh, darn it! Yeah. No, you don't need to tell me. But it's. I'm glad that there's other information out there. That's more.
I mean, and I know working very hard on the case, and there's just things that, I mean, even the person dressed in black. You know how I found out about that? I mean, I found out about it before. Let me back up. I found out about it, but I also found out about it because Aaron was telling coworkers early on that they were going to try to pin this on Bill because they saw a video of someone in black walking around the neighborhood. Yeah, and they're talking about this at work, and how she that I don't know. Maybe they brought him in and showed him the video, and then he shared that with her. But I found out about that early on because she was telling people that she works with that they were going to try to pin this on Bill because they saw a guy dressed in black behind their house.
But what Aaron forgot to mention was that they tracked the guy in Men in Black right from Cheryl's car to the backyard of their house. Yeah.
Yep.
But of course it sounds, anybody in black could be walking around in a neighborhood. But yeah, you didn't mention that that the same person got out of her vehicle and walked all the way around to the house. Yeah, so
right.
She must have known the whole thing, but just minimized it with the employees, people at work.
Right, because once again, nobody is allowed to talk about it at Costco, but yet they're allowed to say whatever they want, and they can defend themselves.
Hey, thanks, Phil Gun Love.
Is what's messed up.
Yeah.
But you know, like I said, you got Bill, Aaron, and Bill's son all working at Costco together.
Well, look at that one guy who was handing out flyers, and Costco said he couldn't come on their property again. Like, why are they protecting him?
Wow. Yeah.
That's not right.
It was like 5 hours of work to get this video up to do.
I mean, you
show.
should be able to give out flyers of a missing person.
It seems like you would
Justice for Cheryl, folded hands, medium light skin tone.
Someone that worked here.
Yes.
Yep.
Just my thought process.
You think Bill will be okay with it? Like, hey, help find, the mother of, my daughter.
Yeah, might make a nice little anti-Costco ad after the fact. When everything's solved, you go, geez, Costco, thanks for the help there, buddy. Appreciate it.
Right.
Geez, Costco.
Yeah. Right.
Way to defend your. I can't. I'm not going to say it. But anyways, yeah. Well, listen,
Tina's rubbing off on you.
Yeah, I was like, hey, I'm Tina. I'm Tina. Hey, but listen, I appreciate all of you guys coming on and taking time to talk to me. I'm glad we were able to do it. Hopefully, we could maybe do it again in I don't know, a month or two. Just a shorter version, but this one we were able to.
Bill, we know what you did.
Get out pretty much all the information that you guys wanted to talk about this time.
Yeah. All right. Well, good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Oh no! Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right.
And hopefully you get an answer soon. All right.
I hope
we
you
hope
do too.
so. We just want justice for Cheryl and find her, put her to rest.
That's right.
Yeah.
The way that she deserves.
Yep, I agree. All right. Well, thank you very much, everybody. All right. Talk to you later.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Well, there you go. There it was. Hour and 44 minutes. But I thought it was really informative. You get a better sense of the relationship there. How the everybody, I don't even know what I'm trying to say. Just how everyone got along and how things were working. Yeah, it was cool. They actually reached out to me this time. It wasn't me trying to find something. I'd talked to Barb way back in the beginning, and then I guess she remembered me later. So that was kind of cool. But I'm really tired right now, so... Oh man, there goes my stomach. It's been a really long day for me. Alright. Yeah, thank you. Yep, I'm not even gonna do a flyby. I just want to go get a drink, some water. You know, just drink of water, some Gatorade, and just stare blankly at a wall for about 20 minutes. All right, everybody. Thank you very much, and thank you to, let's see. Thank you to Crystal, aka Beaver Gaming Sub that salvaged the evening. That would have been a tough one without that. Thank you very much, Crystal. Thank you, Miss Skiss, Miss Skiss. And then Daniel S. and Shogun Love, and then Cairo. All right. So thank you guys very much. And as I always say, everybody, until next time, be safe out there.